year is upon us, and it's not too late to make some financial resolutions. 3 in 10 of us made resolutions last year, but just 1 out of every 10 of us will actually keep them. Mike Koyanen, owner and financial advisor of Principal Preservation Services, is here now to talk more about our money goals and how to make them stick. Happy New Year, Mike.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Liz. I love being on Alpha News. Appreciate it.
Why is it that most people don't stick to their resolutions?
Yeah, I mean, the reasons could be one or just several, and I think first one is people just set unrealistic goals. There's a reason why we have a track record that we have to do resolutions each year. And I think being unrealistic with those goals, sometimes you have to just tame them back a little bit, not try to do too much in a short period of time is one of them. I think the other one is lack of accountability, finding an accountability partner, whether it's your loved one, a coworker, or a friend, just to share it with some of the goals. Like, can you keep me accountable? For example, I'm not going to eat out more than twice a week. Your coworker says, isn't this our third time we're eating out this week? Friendly advice, to keep you accountable. Or by Friday says, Mike, we haven't even eaten out once all week. Great job. Somebody to keep you accountable. And I think having a plan. I think the lack of planning, we set the goals, and we know where we want to be, but we don't get deep enough in the process how we're going to get to those goals. And that's another reason for failure.
It doesn't have to be difficult, right? What are some suggested financial goals folks should consider?
First of all, we have to start with, the basics, and that's creating a budget. We need to know what we're spending every month. We need to know how much money's coming in every month and what's that difference? What's that gap? And the key is being realistic, because I find a lot of people are not being realistic with their budget. They say, I'm spending $6,000 a month, and then I sit down, I know what their take-home pay is $10,000 a month. So I said, you have $4,000 every month. They go, no, we don't have anything extra. I said, well, there's a problem. We need to be realistic with our budget and what we're spending. So do a detailed budget, find out where you're spending your money, and you're going to find really quickly whether those places are worth it or not, so you can cut back. So being very comprehensive with the budget, knowing what you take in, what's going out, and why you're not staying within that budget. That's tip number one.
You mentioned paying down debt. What's the best debt to focus on?
I mean, good debt, we talk about mortgages are kind of a good debt, but eventually we want to be debt free someday, right? But we have to start with those bad debts, and that's going to be the credit cards, those student loans, especially those credit cards, because they have the highest interest rate and that compound interest, and debt is just holding us back from our potential, our dreams, our goals, being able to help people out and even retire sooner. So let's get rid of the debt. Let's focus on that. And with Christmas right behind us, I'm sure a lot of people spent more money on gifts on their credit cards than they planned on. So let's work on getting rid of that. Now, there's two schools of method when it comes to paying off debt. I like to focus on, it's called the snowball method. And that's where you make all the minimum payments on all your other requirements, all your other debts and bills, but you pay the maximum amount on that smallest debt. Pay everything, the minimum on everything, and everything left over on that smallest debt. It doesn't matter if it's the lowest interest or the highest interest. We hope it is the highest interest, but now when you'll get that debt paid off in a short period of time, then you focus on the next smallest debt and the next smallest debt. And you're going to build up confidence. You're going to see results fast. And I like that one the most. And hopefully by the end of the year, you'll be debt free on those credit cards. And we can establish a new good resolution next year where we use credit cards as a convenience, not to borrow, and use your credit cards to make money and get money back, or rewards to get back. That's how I use mine. That's how a lot of the people today who learned through bad mistakes with credit cards use their credit cards today.
At the start of a new year, we're always reminded how time flies, and retirement could be here before we even know it. We need to save for it now, right, Mike?
Absolutely. We need to make sure we're putting enough money into our 401k plans if you have that established. 25% of American workers do not put enough into their 401k to receive the full company match from their employer, which is ridiculous. I mean, the average what I see from the employer matching is about 5%. So if you don't put in 5%, you don't get the 5%. So I'll run a couple examples for you, Liz. A 25-year-old making $100,000 a year, only contributing 3% for 40 years till 65. Now the employer is only going to give them 3 because they're only putting in 3. Well, with that, after 40 years, at a 6% average return, they're going to have about 1.2 million. Well, 1.2 million in 40 years isn't going to seem the same as it is today, right? But now if you up that to just doing the 5% match, putting 5% to get the full 5% match, in that 40 years, now you're going to have almost 2 million, almost double. And let's go a step further. What if you keep contributing the 5%, but increasing it 1% a year for 25 years? So you're increasing your contributions as you get raises. Now you're going to have about $3 million. It just goes to show you the sooner you can sacrifice a little bit, the longer time you have in the markets, the longer time you have to invest, better off you're going to be. And a higher probability you will be able to retire when you want to, hopefully 65 or sooner.
Mike Koyanen with Principal Preservation Services. Be sure to visit their website. Thank you again for joining us for this month's Alpha Money.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.